Vision of a life church, to see the world come alive through Jesus Christ. What does that vision mean? I mean, Scripture talks about in John chapter 1 verse 4, it says, in him was life. Him being Jesus Christ, right? We believe wholeheartedly, absolutely, that life is only found in one person alone, and that is Jesus Christ. Many people in this world are dead. They're dead to their sin, bound to slavery, and we have such a deep desire for them to find true life in the only one person that gives life. So us as a church, we are only about one person, and that's Jesus Christ. And we believe that if Jesus is revealed, if he is glorified, if he's lifted up, he'll draw all men unto him. And there, it's in that moment that people will truly, truly find life. So our passion as a church is to reveal Jesus Christ. That's it. We believe that that's all we need, nothing more, nothing less, just to reveal Jesus Christ. And as long as he's revealed, this world will come alive. We believe that with all of our heart. Story of a life church, wow. Well, if we were to tell the whole story, we'll probably be here forever. But in a nutshell, as quickly as we can, I remember in 2018, I was with my parents in the car. They had picked me up from the airport. And it was a time where, I'd really come to the Lord, was really on fire for the Lord, and just wanted to do something for the Lord. I was talking to my parents about, what if we just started this ministry or something like that? And my dad, when we were in the car, he said that God had given him a vision and he saw the name Alive. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds incredible. What does that mean? But it stirred something on the inside of me. Lo and behold, around the same time, there was a group of other incredible people, other incredible leaders. Something was stirred on the inside of them as well, and God was calling them also to, start pushing this movement of a young adults ministry, So we came together in 2019 and we started to discuss this ministry that we could start. And the Lord gave us the instruction to start it in the summer of 2019. And that summer came, and around that time was when I shared with the team the name Alive that my dad had received, and immediately when the team heard it, they were so excited about the name. In fact, funny enough, we actually had a different name that we were going to call the church. I don't know, maybe someone else will reveal it. But we had a different name that we were going to call the church. But then God just reminded us of this vision called Alive. And from there, 2019 summer, the Lord started Alive Church.
I think one of my earliest memories was the actual day before we started. So May the 11th, 2019. Like the Saturday, everyone came into church. We were all pumped. We had all of our merch. We had pens. Yeah. We had the big cross that I think we still have somewhere in the building. The big cross came in. We had the welcome sign, and everything just seemed to be coming to life. Yeah. And it was just, everyone was just so pumped. I'll never forget that day, honestly. For me, that was one of my earliest memories that was so fond, because everyone was so happy to be doing the work. Mm-hmm. No one was being begged to do it. Yeah. Everyone was just working hard. And the thing is, we didn't know what it was gonna turn out like. We had no clue what it was going to be like. We initially thought in the planning stages before the church started, we thought it was gonna be a fellowship. That would be once a month. And the treehouse, I don't know if you remember, it was called the treehouse. Literally, we didn't know that this thing that we thought treehouse for once a month would turn into every single Sunday.
Wow. One of my favorite and earliest memories, when we were in the boardroom and we were planning to do the worship night after heart surgery, and we were planning different things, and then Flame was happening. And then all of a sudden, everyone's saying, yeah, let's get popcorn at Flame. Let's have a whole stand. Let's have a store. I was like, first of all, we're only 2 months old. RCCG are not going to let us do all this stuff. And Toby and everyone saying, no, we'll have faith, it'll happen. And I just remember a bunch of ideas just flowing. And it was so beautiful to see how the worship night came. We had called out music. Yes. AJ Articulate. Yes. Pastor Angela. So many not random now, but random at the time that we thought we could never even see. This whole building was packed out. And just seeing the goodness of God, saying, wow, if we can do this in 2 months.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Just imagine 5 years.
That was incredible. We were literally 2 months in and we filled an auditorium of 500 people.
Wow.
We were shocked. We were confused, what is going on here?
That's literally the way.
And I think, honestly, I feel like that is consistent all through the 5 years. 100%. God has just shocked us. He's blown our minds. Mm-hmm. He's just made us literally dumbfounded with the way he's blessed us. It's just been absolutely amazing.
So Alive Church, it means so much to me. This church means so much to me. I have the privilege of being a staff member in this church. And, you know, when I graduated university, I didn't actually necessarily think that I was ever going to work in a church. And a lot of what I am doing now, not all of it, but a lot of what I'm doing now, I was doing as a volunteer, as many of the people in the church are just working as volunteers. But by the special grace of God, you know, the Lord saw fit to have me come and work here and be on staff. And what a privilege it is to do something that I love and do something that I, you know, would do for free, to actually be doing it and being paid for it, which is just amazing. It still blows my mind. But this is such a special house filled with people that, you know, I'm privileged to work with, to serve alongside, serve under. Pastor Toby's amazing as a manager, as a pastor, as a friend, as a brother. And yeah, it's been a great time. It's been a great time. I love seeing the church grow from behind the doors, and seeing all the inner workings of how things come to life. It's been fantastic. I can't complain at all, and I'm so grateful, and I can't wait to just see how the church continues to just blossom in front of my eyes.
I feel like with a live church, having over 18 sermon series is just on brand for us. One thing about us, when we feel like the Lord is leading us in a new direction, we're gonna follow him. And I feel like the sermon series have been so important to us. You know, I feel it's one thing to study the word by yourself, but it's another thing to study the word with direction. It's another thing to study the word with guidance. And I believe all the sermon series that we've had in the past 5 years have always aided a believer in knowing where does the Lord want to take them. A live church isn't just SLT. A live church isn't just the teaching team. A live church is all of us. And when we feel like a sermon series is about to equip us and build us up, it's not just for the teaching team, it's literally for every single person. So I believe every sermon series, from the first one, Heart Surgery, to the latest one, Divine Intervention, it's God speaking to every individual in a live church so they understand this is what the Lord wants for a live church, so therefore this is what the Lord wants for me. So it gives confidence in knowing that the Lord cares about each and every individual. It gives confidence in knowing that the Lord wants to speak to us through his word. You know, the Bible says in Hebrews 4 that the word is living and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. So it gives hope in that, wow, the Lord is actually speaking to me in each and every single sermon series. My favorite sermon series to date. I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say my favorite one is Heart Surgery, because that was the first time I ever preached. And I really believe that set tone for a live church. That was a sermon series all about worship, all about understanding that worship has to come from the heart. And I really felt like that really showed us that God wasn't just looking for people who said, I'm on fire for God on a Sunday, but he really wanted us to show him, look, Lord, you have my heart. On my Mondays to Sundays, I live for you. On my Mondays to Sunday, I'm on fire for you. And it stems from the heart. And for me, I feel like that changed everything in my life, from preaching to teaching to fellowshipping with people to loving God from my heart and loving other people. So for me, yeah, no pun intended, but Heart Surgery has a special place in my heart.
One of the things that made me stay in a live church is definitely the people. When I was looking for a place to call home, I was definitely desiring a family unit, and a live church definitely did offer that. I can testify that we are a house that loves fellowship and we love being with one another, not for the pure reasons just to be in the house, but purely to fellowship and to support one another. There is always someone that you can call on. There is always someone that is offering prayers or support, or just laughter. The house is so beautifully built that we desire to be one, with one vision. I've met all of my best friends in this house, and my nearest and dearest by the grace of God, and I cannot wait to do life with them in this house, continuing serving God. Volunteers are so amazing. It's literally a group of people, a number of people who decide to come every single week, and even during the week to serve the house of the Lord, and to serve unto God. I think what's so beautiful about our volunteers is that everyone has the revelation that this service is not unto their lead pastor or SLT, but this service is unto God. And I think because of that, we have such a great spirit of not wanting to do things for ourselves, but wanting to do things for the Lord. And therefore, everything we do is onto him and in excellence, which is so, so beautiful. Our volunteers is the heartbeat of this church. We would not be here, we would not have been able to do 5 years without the volunteers of this church. So I am extremely grateful for our volunteers, and I pray that as we continue in our years, that many more will join us.
We do so much as a church. We have quite a few ministries within the house, but I think a few things that we do consistently. We've got our prayer meetings. We have that every single Monday. We've got Brotherhood and Heart and Soul, and these are our men and women fellowships within the house. Aside from that, we've also got AC Connect, which is our fellowship. We have that every other Tuesday, and it has been so incredible over the past coming up to 5 years now. We've been able to do so much, and we are so grateful. But like, other than the fellowships that we have within the house, we also have so many departments that people in-house can join. We've got service team, we've got social events team, we've got social media, we've got so many things that we do. And it's all so exciting because it's just nice to have so many things that people could partake in. It's nice to have so many fellowships and so many, like, I guess, teams that people could join so that they can feel part of the house, so that they can use their giftings to serve the Lord. And it's just great. It's great. We're grateful. We have outreach, we've got prayer team, we've got ACCs. And I think these three in particular serve as something that creates impact and longevity. When we go out and speak to people, we tell them about this person called Jesus so that they can have life in all its fullness. When we pray for people, we pray towards them experiencing Jesus Christ so that they can have life in all its fullness. When we serve the young people, the kids in our church, we teach them so that they can have, life in all its fullness. And I think, God has strengthened us so much to do this and to do this well. And it can only get better from here. We have so many other different teams within the church so that people within the house can serve and just use the gifts and talents that God has given them. And it's so exciting just to see where we're going as a church with the ministries that we have. It's so exciting to see where we're going as a church to fulfill this vision that God has given us, not just for 5 years, but for another 5 and another 5. And we're excited to know that, there is more that God is doing in this house.
So Game Changer, the idea of Game Changer came from Pastor Toby. I would never forget, he sent a message in the group chat and he was so pumped.
Hey guys, hear me out. Just thought of something. Tell me what you guys think. So, instead of us having the worship night in December, because worship night is like the big thing, that's what we're ending the year on. And just having a worship night doesn't really feel like it's doing enough, just our worship night part 2. Why don't we have, instead of calling it our worship night, in December we have our Game Changer conference? Just think about it. Pray about it.
Now, it wasn't really taken well in the group because we were like, we got 3 months to plan, bro. And he was suggesting like a 3-day conference. And we were like, how are we going to pull it off? But I think because, a month before that, we had just pulled off, a huge worship night where we had over 300-400 young people in the building join us after us just starting the church 2 months before that. So we were like, hey, we could do whatever, like it's gonna work. So he literally told us the theme, he told us Game Changer Conference. He said, we are gonna change the game, we're built to change the game. He was so enthusiastic about it. And eventually he got all of us on his side. And 6 conferences, down the line, we are still here doing Game Changer every single year. And I believe when we actually, started Game Changer planning, we thought it was just gonna be a small thing, but God blew our minds. And here we are today. And Game Changer is here to stay. It's never going. The theme changes yearly, but the conference is always going to be Game Changer. And I think it's such a great time where, people are revived, people are replenished, and God shows us how great and marvelous he is.
Game Changer is so important. And it's so important to this house because I think that, we get an opportunity to gather for a few days, and our only focus and our only desire, our only goal is to meet with God. And it's like, we get there every week on a Sunday, but to have 4 or 5 days, 3 or 4 to 5 days of us just gathering together and just focusing on God and just fellowshipping with his children, but meeting with him and receiving from him. It's just so special to have as a church. It's really, really special.
Yeah, I think Game Changer, it's a pivotal part of the church because I feel like every year, it's almost as though we are literally poured into so much over a small amount of time, and it helps us catapult us into, you know, our next season. Yeah. And I really feel like everyone kind of looks forward to getting, because I don't know about you, but Game Changer is just different.
So
the oil on Game Changer is different.
It is.
And it gives you that
push,
refueling, that energy that you need to kind of go forth and do whatever it is that God has called you to do for the next year.
When I see a life church in 5 years, forward, I say forward. Paul speaks about it in Philippians 3. That's what really captivated my heart. He speaks about how forgetting about what is behind and straining forward to what is ahead. And that's the word for our church, a life church. We're going to move forward. I think in 5 years, I think we've done well. I think all of the things that we've done in that period of time of 5 years have been fantastic. But God is calling us to so much more. God is calling us to move forward. And I want people to know, everyone that's a part of this house, we are a part of something that is way bigger than us, something that actually will affect earth for the kingdom of heaven. So God is calling us to so much more. There is indeed more that God is calling us to. We've only just started. In fact, we haven't even, you know, when a plane takes off, we're still just cruising on the ground, but we're about to start taking off. We have indeed only just started. So I want people to be so expectant, because there is so much more, and we're going to populate the kingdom of heaven here on earth.